latest new video on what, after seeing the latest scoop now of what the season finale of Invincible season 4 episode 8, and I have to say it was downright god grinching the whole time, because you already knew so much from episode 7 of how the shit hit the shit hit the fan, and then going back to Earth and just didn't know what to expect. And once again, they prove how much they adapted and learned and applied so much better emotionally than it did in the comics. Whether the animation was top killer, that's up for debate. But I honestly think it's gotten a lot better than people continuing to complain about. No disrespect. There's still a lot more to a show than good graphics. Why do people still do One Piece for that? Ask yourself that. And all I can say is, whew, Mark got it really rough coming back, dealing with the idea of possibly every single pissed off Viltrumite, THRAGG being the most scariest of them all, going to Earth and possibly killing everybody he knows and loves, and he had nothing to do but think about it on its way there with his dad. And honestly, at first I thought, well, it was kind of like a short-lived vision of what Mark was having, but then instead of just showing it all in one panel, they stretch it out as he seen his love after, Eve, then seen THRAGG just show up and crush her skull or eyeball, then with his mom, and then seeing like Anissa killing his best friend William. Just, my God, the emotional trauma that goes with all that. But considering also how much this is just all of this that Mark went through, and pretty much every Viltrumite he's faced, and THRAGG from reason basically living rent free in his head, let alone his planet Earth. I mean, thinking, I get that he gorged his eyes a little, but comparing what Conquest did, that would be a big thing. And also, I know to most of y'all who were watching that, you were like expecting, come on, Mark, you finally seen Cecil. He met Cecil after coming back, after meeting God knows you know who, and despite every reason everybody should think he should wrench him out on it, he's too apparently fucked up about THRAGG and the others than apparently about just suddenly forgetting that he was basically re- eternally rearranged his organs were by Conquest to give it out to Cecil. Why the frick did you let Conquest live? No, he let it slide. He let it slide. I understand, probably because there are other things to do to just answer out. But I still would have wanted him to get in Cecil's face saying, why the hell did you let Conquest live? And, oof, can we just address how that was just adding more trauma than trauma when Eve saw Mark when he was addressing to her, comforting her, and for record, she didn't look that bad. I understand that, try to go with the original, like, from the comics. I mean, but they could have spruced it up a little. I mean, honestly, she doesn't look that fit. I mean, I'm not judging anybody, but all I can say is that was just even more intense for Eve to mention how she had an abortion. And apparently, the timeline is a bit misconception, because apparently Mark and Nolan and Oliver rejoined the war after Conquest nearly 2 months after they were beating the Viltrumites. And then suddenly, when Mark gets to Earth, they mention on the lines that 10 months later, 10 months, even though they don't show a panel or anything, what in the world are they trying going on? I mean, was it 2 months or 10 months? I don't understand why you would make it seem like, oh, it would have been easier to go early 2 months just to be there to go for the grief and everything for Eve. But also, like, there was kind of a bit of a hope that maybe Eve would have kept the baby. Maybe they wouldn't have gone that far. But they still did it anyway. And all that, it's just adding more trauma, dumping on poor Mark's side. And to think how bad it could have gotten between Debbie and Paul in less than 2 months if it were 10 months. But obviously it didn't end bad because they still talked to each other after all that. And look, I am not a big fan of Nolan after everything he did in season one. Especially, and also how it was a bit worse in the comics. But it shows in both materials that he's putting in the work, and he's actually a lot better than he was before. I understand a lot of people still and I still give him the side eye, but I've possibly have never written or ever seen a better take or a more redeemable character after being the most, messed up, heartless, evil bastard than Nolan and my Omni Man in my whole life. I mean, they started from evil Superman to now a humble. Maybe I'm trying to find a comparison. Maybe a humble Goku. No, I'm not comparing him to Goku. I mean, you know what? Maybe a little, because at least we know somewhat. Goku isn't all right in the head. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm not trying to start a complex brat. I still like Goku either way. I don't know why. I just can't find a better reference. Okay, to get off my words. If you're rage baiting right now, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to rage bait, but at least you can all just tell me and not say, well, after everything they gone through and all the hell and after literal beatings he's taken and impaled, that he is not, if even close, to earning back, the love and trust. Oh shit, I just realized, and I wasn't even focused on that because of how much they wasted out, because they didn't know if THRAGG or the Filtermons were on Earth or not. And that's a big difference than in the comics. Like the moment Mark got back on Earth or flying in the air, they THRAGG showed up to let them know that their presence was there. They waited to the very end of the episode to hit that bombshell for Mark alone, which is already a lot to be with Mooney. Though it, of all things, should have been there. They really helped with his son, but no. They wanted to give him more of, rebuilding back the relationship with him and Jeffrey, which, understandable. Totally understandable after everything. And I like it still, how it's not an instant recovery, between them. It still worked, but it's now a freaking progress it made after it seemed like it was hopeless after Nolan's bitter apology in episode 6. He literally learned from Oliver and his time on the planet to apply what he did to make what he said better, to do better. And as long as somebody does better, then they're not completely evil piece of shit. I just hope people can really see that, understand that, because I would forgive him, even if I would, because what other father would you have? But I like to readdress back the big blue and yellow elephant in the room. How Mark is totally in the head now, not only dealing with PTSD from the Viltrumite War, but also coming back and now dealing that he is the only one. I hope he mentions it to Cecil and to Eve, that how THRAGG came up to him and saying, "Oh, we are very much here, and we're gonna stay here until we are strong enough to come back here and conquer it," type shit. And Mark is just—he's right now the only solo Viltrumite on the planet, compared to 37. 37, which got to keep some accuracy and sometimes not. I mean, it comes and goes. I really will not deny that. But god dang, you know that's fucked up. And his parents just left. Or how does Amelia gonna feel once he knows that? I mean, honestly, it really should have. His dad would have really supported him in that situation, or better yet, he would know that that was the real THRAGG. I mean, of course, he knew once THRAGG wasn't just a hallucination from the sky he was looking at, from the mental, and then he suddenly shows up in his face and saying, "Ooh, we are mature," and again, they made THRAGG so OP again. Like, Mark is throwing his best punches, if he is. I mean, I would say they are best punches, God let me or not. And they're still not doing shit to THRAGG. Absolutely nothing to this. And I'm just feeling, how the heck is he ever going to be ready when he's going to finally have to face him for the final time? Which only a minor spoiler to y'all, how the comics end. But holy shit, I mean, god dang. And give me a minor topic that people are not interested, but we'll take that they were looking back on trying to bring Monster Girl and Robot from the Flaxen dimension, and apparently still nothing now. But boy, when they come back, it's gonna be a whole new situation to deal with. So that's my latest take so far on everything, and my honest opinion of how the story of Invincible has ended so far. I really hope they continue and to adapt mostly accurate consistencies from the comic, because I feel like there's nothing else to really change or drag out to bring out the whole plot of the story. Something the only case would be Oliver. Definitely Oliver, which, if that is how the whole tech dragon works, completely understandable. But if not, then just leave everything as it is. I definitely expect more dialogue to drag out the scenes more, because that was definitely worth a champion shot. But all in all, it seems like a very promising future for the, good anime takes on Amazon Prime. This is your boy, hashtag CMooney. I'll see you soon. Peace.